evening and welcome to the first edition of Not the News You Need, the only news show where the facts are as reliable as Elon Musk's Twitter feed and the jokes are just dark enough that Reform UK would like them deported. Now, viewer discretion is advised unless you are a Daily Mail reader. In that case, welcome and fuck off. Tonight I will be covering 2024, the year that Labour cut the winter fuel allowance to kill your nan, and TV presenters were found with as much filth as P. Diddy's freak parties. But the biggest story of the year, the UK general election, where the only thing more predictable than a Labour win was the chaos that would follow. So, let's take a look at the headlines of 2024. So, Labour won, and the landslide victory proved anything this year is that Britain is no longer voting for hope, and it's just voting for less despair. Starmer's victory is like choosing a plain rich tea biscuit after choking on a Jaffa cake for 14 years. It's bland, safe, but nobody's first choice. Labour's first 100 days in office have been about as inspiring as a beige cardigan soaked in lukewarm tea. Also, did anyone else notice that they soon dropped the "for the many, not the few"? Now it's "we'll just get back to you on that," waspy. Now, I'm not saying Labour's first few months in power have been bad, but last week Liz Truss trended on social media with the hashtag "the good old days." The Tories, meanwhile, they suffered their biggest loss since, well, the last time Boris Johnson opened his mouth. The party is now forced to fighting over the scraps of political relevancy. Honestly, it's like watching a dog chase his own tail, apart from the tail is on fire. And so is the rest of the dog. There's Reform UK, where Nigel Farage and his band of racist dads from Wetherspoons are still somehow considered a viable option. Let's be serious, their manifesto was basically Mein Kampf, but with typos. Imagine the worst parts of Brexit sprinkled in with the charm of an angry comment section on Twitter. They also propose scrapping the Human Rights Act entirely because nothing says freedom like making it easier to treat human beings like livestock. It is obviously a utopia for anyone with an IQ under 40. Inflation has hit 2.6%, just as many homes across the UK were calculating if it was cheaper to eat their money or burn it for warmth. You know that feeling when you buy a bag of crisps and you open it and it's 95% air? Well, that's now basically your paycheck. Apart from you're now means tested to see if you can even inhale that air to save you from suffocation and the sweet release of death. We've gotten to the point where food banks are now offering loyalty cards, collect 10 cans of beans and get a free existential crisis. Experts are calling this negative growth, which is like calling a car crash unplanned parking. Of course, then there's devolution. The government have decided to give more power to local councils because nothing screams great idea like letting the people that can't even fix potholes decide if your children get free school meals. Councils will now control the local transport budgets, which is great, because if there's one thing that councils are known for, it's their visionary approach to efficiency. At least we know politicians aren't clever enough to criminalise stupidity. Wages are up 5.2%, but job losses are around about the same. So it's like, good news, you're getting a pay rise. Bad news, you're fired. It's about as useful as giving an athlete a gold medal while simultaneously chopping off his limbs. The only thing more absurd than the economy are the people running it. It's like watching a circus that everybody's in suits and some geezer's in the corner rocking, talking about his dad being a tool maker.
Dad was a toolmaker.
My dad was a toolmaker.
He was skilled as a toolmaker, highly skilled.
And your dad, I think it's right to say, was a toolmaker?
He was a toolmaker, yeah.
Dad was a toolmaker.
My dad was a toolmaker. And he was a toolmaker. He was a skilled man. And it's hard work, it's skilled work.
My dad, he was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker.
But let's head over now to the quirkier side of things as we head into not quite newsworthy. Cruz mistook Rishi Sunak's car for his own. In fairness, they are both tiny, shiny and built on questionable beliefs. The difference being that Tom's runs on fossil fuels while the other runs on fossilised Tory principles. A woman has been caught smuggling 40 kilos of cheese. You'd think this was a Breaking Bad parody, but no, it's just the cost of cheddar rising so high you need to bribe a border agent with baby bells to make a sandwich. Smuggling cheese is probably the most British crime imaginable. The Border Patrol have described it as a serious breach, and it's a Gouda job that they intercepted it, as it could have caused a damn black market pop up overnight. A Tesco representative said it just sounded like a mental Saturday night in the dairy aisle. I couldn't finish a recap of 2024, the year that said, fuck it, let's let chaos have a go, without mentioning Donald Trump. Donald Trump was re-elected as the United States president, proving that Americans just love a sequel, no matter how bad the original was. But let's not forget the assassination attempts on his life, just showing the thought pattern of Americans that they'd rather try and shoot a man than just not vote for him. Now, of course, we wouldn't be a reputable show without reaching out to the President-elect Donald Trump for comment, and this is what he sent in to us.
Thank you, Bobby. Tremendous show, really tremendous. I've heard great things about you. People are saying you're the best, maybe even better than Fox News, which, as you know, is not what it used to be. Now, these so-called assassination attempts, they were pathetic, weak, very weak. If you're going to come for me, you better have better aim, okay? I'm like Teflon. Nothing sticks to me except maybe Melania's side eye, but that's a different story. And the people that got caught, total losers, big-time losers. I want to make one thing clear. I'm not worried. Not even a little. In fact, I'm so confident I'll invite them to inauguration. They can sit in the back row with the fake news media. But your show, Bobby, it's fantastic. People are saying it's going to be huge, the biggest thing since my rallies. And you know, I do big rallies, tremendous rallies. Maybe I'll come on sometime. You'd like that? You see the UK, they love me. They really love me. But you'd like that, wouldn't you? Bobby Rascal and Donald Trump unstoppable. Like MAGA but British. Great stuff. It'd be really great stuff.
Well, there you have it, folks. Donald Trump, still invincible, still delusional, and my biggest fan. And finally, Christmas 2024, the year that half the country huddled round candles like extras in Oliver Twist, trying to keep your nan alive and warm. The other half rage-quitting games of Monopoly because it's too close to reality. And the only thing with more holes than the Swiss cheese board this year is Keir Starmer's Labour manifesto. So Merry Christmas, and I will see you next year, if civilization hasn't already burnt itself to the ground. I've been Bobby Rascal. This was not the news you need. Thank you and good night.